going on, y'all? It's your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
And as we'll see.
And this beautiful woman right here is... Who are you? This is my wife, ladies and gentlemen, Brianna Gibbons.
Hi.
Thank you so much and welcome to another episode of the Achromas podcast. Now, this is the very first time that you are seeing her here. And man, do we have a story for you today, ladies and gentlemen, about just how she got here and this got here and that got there. You have to stay and listen to this episode because, man, it is really going to tell you a lot of things this afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. But first, as always, we know that this is yet another episode of the Achromas podcast, and we are on YouTube. If you have not already, do it right now. You hit that subscribe button, you hit that like button, you hit that notification bell, because it will tell you the next time that the Achromas podcast is on YouTube. And of course, it is
Free. It's free, guys. It's free, right? That doesn't mind blown, right? Man, Bree. Free is good, right?
Always.
You know, your husband is having a difficult
so
time.
you're part of this free
It's
stuff.
Yeah,
free.
he's having a difficult part.
Free.
Yeah. Don't worry, we got him covered as always. Bree got my back today. So yeah, hit that subscribe button, guys, so you can get the content first. And be sure to share with the people that's closest to you, your frenemies, whoever you need to share with to bring some change to their life, build healthy habits. Let's share with them. Let's get that content out there, guys.
You must do that. You must do that. Look, we are not only on YouTube, but we are on Spotify. We are on Facebook. We are on Instagram. We are on any platform that has anything to do with podcasts. You will hear the Achromas podcast on there. If you are new, I thank you for being here. She thanks you for being here. He thanks you for being here. And welcome to this show. Now, to recap a little bit last week, man, we got some things cooking. We got some things running. We got people who were building confidence in themselves and learning how to do so from the videos that we put out there. It's a lot of feedback, a lot of great feedback, a lot of things that people have learned about themselves through affirmations, through, different confidence building exercises that they've done over the past week. And I know a lot of these people had a lot of fun doing it. So to anyone who was part of that, continue to do it. Just because the week is over doesn't mean you end. You keep going, you keep building confidence in yourself, you sustain that confidence, and you elevate. You keep rising because it does not stop.
No, not at all. I wholeheartedly agree with you. It's a process, evolution. This is what we do, right? We grow, some metamorphosis through life. Absolutely. And if you stay true to yourself and who you are, to your core, it's going to make the process of those changes, the permanent changes, what it needs to be. Yeah. So just stay in tune with that. Keep working on it. Keep building those affirmations that are for you guys. And I assure you, the best you has yet to come.
And in order to help yourself become the best version of yourself, there's a website that I think you should visit. It's a store. It's a representation of our community. Ladies and gentlemen, theachromasstore.com. Wow. For everyone who is not on YouTube right now and maybe listening to Spotify, there is a water bottle next to me. It is one of the best I've ever seen personally. It's got the logo on it. It's white. It's tall. It's amazing. It keeps your water warm, cold. It keeps your water cold. Yeah. That's bad advertising. Anything that's in there will remain the same temperature that it is once it gets in there and once it goes down your throat. This is an amazing bottle. And if you have not gotten it yet, don't worry. The hot summer is not over.
No, it's not. And maybe you're right. Maybe it is hot. Maybe it could be warm. Hot is good too, right?
That is, yes, absolutely. Could be hot, could be cold, but it is a hot summer. So what we want you to do right now is you go to the Achromas store. Go to that promo code section where you can type it in. You type in HOT BOD, that is HOTBOD, and guess what? 20% off of any product in the store. Wow.
20% off.
20% off.
My word.
20% off. My goodness.
Didn't it?
Man. Wow.
See, thank goodness we have this flask here because it's going to cool us, cool you off.
It's going to cool you off, man. Look, it is a hot U summer and it is not ending. It will not end. It'll keep going. Ladies and gentlemen, we are proud to really jump into this.
Mhm.
Wow. That's all I can really say, babe. It has been 6+ years since we started this journey. Six
Mm,
plus years.
6 years.
And
that's a
with
long
this with
time.
this episode tonight will mark the very first episode that you are featured, literally sitting between us on the Acromas
Yeah.
podcast. Wow. This is amazing. Look,
Yes, it is.
this episode tonight, of course, we are discussing preparing for a long-term relationship. But babe, when we started, we didn't know what exactly we were going to be, right?
No.
Oh my gosh. Well, from a woman's perspective, because they've already heard mine a ton, how we started, where we started, what we did. But I want to get your feelings tonight. I want to get your emotions tonight. I want you to go through exactly how we met, but from your perspective. What was the when you, because for me, of course, in case you're just following us, in case you didn't hear about our history, our story, just a little tidbit of how it started. It started on tag.com,
Yep.
Mm.
right? And there are many people out there who have no idea what I'm talking
Nope.
about.
Ooh,
In
that
fact,
was
that
yeah.
it was
Now
one
that
of,
you mention
That was
it.
a
yeah,
while ago.
it was a
Wow, that was
while
a
ago.
whole
It was
era.
one of those sites that, there was a MySpace and then there was a tag somewhere down here, and not too many people knew about it.
That
But
is true.
I mean, honestly, it worked. I mean, here we sit in front of you, right? I mean, I can't really even say it was like a dating site, right? It was like a
Mm.
social
So
networking sort of,
social,
yeah,
and
there
during
was,
those times, yeah, it was
yeah,
more
yeah.
like that.
It was
Definitely,
innocent.
yeah.
It was, it was really, okay, let's see who's this person, how's this person living, all that stuff. And
Yeah.
honestly, that was the reason why I got on in the first place.
Mm.
So when I went on the website and I went to search, of course you can change your filters. So I changed it from the US to Ghana. And as I was just swiping through, looking through, nothing, again, wasn't looking for anything, nothing too serious. But then I laid eyes on this woman right next to me, and my God,
Was it like lightning?
it was like lightning and thunder. The storm was right over my head, and I didn't know what was going on.
Oh,
It was different. It was like the minute you drink or sip just a little bit of water out
mhm.
of that Acromis glass or that flask you got there, and it would be like sipping that after walking for 40 days in a desert. That's how refreshing it felt to see her on there, because
Mm.
how we're guys, right?
Yeah,
We know what we see, we know what we're looking for, all that stuff, right?
yeah.
And typically we may see a woman who may not be presenting themselves in the way that we may find attractive, right?
Very true.
Sure,
Yes,
exactly.
very true.
So we were used to seeing certain pictures, certain video. We saw those things, right? And we get a certain vibe. We're like,
Yeah.
For me, it's just not my thing. It's just not my vibe. It's
Mhm.
not how I flow. But there was something different about Brianna. It was just the way she was, the way she was standing, the way her clothes fitted. It was like, there's something different about her. And again, it wasn't me looking to start dating. I was not looking into that at all.
Uh-huh.
I was just being friendly. That's all it was. So, I started off with a friend request, and I just hit that button, and a couple days later she accepted, and my first message for her was, "Thank you for accepting my friend request." And I will allow you to take the floor, babe, and let them know exactly how you felt when you accepted the friend request after you saw it come through.
Well, I wasn't really, like you said, I wasn't looking for
Hmm.
someone, but it was just like, oh, it's casual. Let's see where this goes. And then he started talking, and of course, his sense of humor just popped. He messaged me. He said, he had a joke, and he was like, "Oh, you're from Guyana." He's like, "Is there a way that I can see you?" And I was like, "Yeah, I have Skype." He's like, "Wow, so I could have seen you all this time." And I was like, "Right." But the one thing I think that captured me about Jamal was his profile picture. He had a picture where he was like looking towards like a tower. I think it was in DC.
Yeah.
He was in all
Okay. Okay.
black and his
Okay.
back
Yeah.
was turned and he
Okay.
was looking up, and I was like, gosh, this has to be a man with vision. right? And I was like,
She knew
he's
me
not
before
like
she
the
knew
rest,
me.
because the rest they
She
would have
knew
like
me.
pictures with their faces or their abs or something like that, and his pictures spoke more of substance, and that is what I've always wanted in a guy. But like I said, I had no idea that we would have even been in a relationship, let alone me sitting here
Mm.
having this podcast done. I had no idea. But
That's yeah.
like just comparing the time, like looking back then and where we are now, it's mind blowing. I was not prepared. I didn't know that it was gonna happen, but I thank the Lord for whoever created tag.
Amen for
Oh
that.
wow. Yeah.
Amen for that. I mean, look, I remember when I first came to you, Will See, and I said, yo, I don't know who this is. She does not live here. But man, there's just something different about her, man. It was the vibe, it was the communication, the conversation. I remember sometimes maybe I wasn't on tagged a lot, but then I would always see a message from her. I would always send a message back. I'd come off, come back on, she would reply, all that stuff. So the communication just kept going.
Yeah.
And through the communication, we kept growing, we kept getting closer. And then there was one day, I mean, I don't know what we were talking about, babe, but it just slipped out of my mouth, those three words. I was just like, I love you.
And I was like,
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. And look, I wasn't expecting you to say it back.
I
That
didn't reply.
no, I
know. I did not
I know.
reply the first time.
I know, and I wasn't expecting you to.
Yeah.
It wasn't something that I was like, ooh, this is something I got to respond to or anything. For me, it was just like I wanted to get that out there. I wanted you to understand how I felt, regardless how you felt about me. So after I put that out there, we started talking more, we started getting more comfortable. And then I remember it was January 1st of that 2016, I believe. And you brought up the question like, hey, when are we like a couple? Are we
Yeah,
gonna
because
start
I was
dating?
like, you never asked
Yeah,
me to
you
be your
never asked
girlfriend.
me.
Like,
And I was like, oh yeah, do you want to be my girlfriend?
okay.
All right, good. There we go. And that's literally you see, but that sort of humor, that sort of silliness is something that has lived within us for the past 6 years together. And it's never faded. Even here now, we're always silly. I mean, we'll see you at our wedding. You saw the silly things that we're doing, the dancing, the jokes, the talking, right before we went through the vows and all that stuff. It's just who we are. So I knew that I struck gold. I struck a blessing when I was able to find her on this website randomly. So I appreciate you, babe. I appreciate you.
I appreciate you.
Well, I guess I just want to ask a couple of questions, then, guys.
Absolutely, man.
Yeah, definitely seeing that beginning or just recollecting how you felt and just the conversations we had, and
You've been there since day one, man.
Yep.
Yeah.
He's been there.
Yeah.
It's been a joy to just observe what that what the choice looks like to choose the person every day. And like I guess recognizing when you was able to admit when you love this person, vice versa, like to know when you knew that this was your person. Like I think that hits different, right? So take us through what that looked like. The moment that for both of you, I'd like to get your perspective of when you both knew,
Sure,
for sure, like in your being that, hey, you know what, this really is my person.
Ladies first.
Okay. I would have to say, after we started talking, we would talk every day. And I just felt as though like the first time something happens to me, the first person I think about is Jamal. I have to tell Jamal this. I have to tell Jamal that. And there was this one time I think something went wrong and we didn't talk for that day. And it felt off. Like my day didn't go well. I was not happy. Nothing seems to be right. And I was like, gosh, I really love this person. Like I can't see, the days without him. And like that was the moment I knew like he's my person.
Wow.
Okay.
I think for me, we all have boyfriends and girlfriends and stuff. And, we were that for a couple years. But then, there came a time where I said, okay, I want to take this to the next level. I've never met anybody like her, any soul like her. how she moves, how she acts, how loyal she is, how responsible she is, how loving she is. All of those characters, as I knew, that there is not a woman alive who can do what she does the way she does.
Mhm.
So, I took it upon myself, got the
Mhm.
ring, got all that stuff, but I didn't tell her about it. I didn't tell many people about it. It
I had no
wasn't,
idea.
and
I had no idea.
it wasn't until the ride to the airport when I told your family, I told your sister, told your grandmother about it. I wanted their blessing before I went to that route.
Yeah, he
Yeah,
called them.
yeah. So when we got to Tobago, that's where we were meeting. We were
Yeah.
gonna, have a nice little vacation spot, just relax, hang out, good vibes. And when we got there, we met this lovely couple. They were celebrating their anniversary. I don't know if it was 20 plus, but it turned out that their name is Robin and Indra. Robin was the pastor, he was the male, female was Indra, very close to my parents' names. But on top of that, they lived close to where I lived in America,
Mm.
in Maryland, in the same county. So I said, okay, this is more than just a coincidence. This is
Mm.
literally the stars aligning right now before
Mm.
my eyes.
Mhm.
So it wasn't until that evening I was like, okay, this is how I want it to be done. There's perfect lighting outside next to the pool, the ocean. You could hear it. You can't really see it, but you could hear it in the background. And we had Robin take a few
They
pictures,
were right
and they were
there.
right there. They're right there the whole time. They were
Wow.
right there for dinner. That is
I
right.
thought that they
Yep.
knew or they
They
didn't
didn't
knew.
know. They had no
They
idea,
didn't
but we
know.
saw them at dinner. We were dressed up because it was her birthday.
Mhm.
And we had dinner. I asked them politely, hey, could you guys mind joining us outside, take a few
Yeah.
pictures of us? So we went outside. Robin was taking 3 photos, and I remember on that fourth one I said,
Uh-huh.
Robin, do you mind switching to video really quick, right?
Mhm.
Just wanted him to do that. And then he switched it to video, and that's when it all started. I knew at that moment,
Yeah.
this is going to cement our legacy forever.
Wow.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep.
So, man, oh, the feeling that you get where I guess you're in that moment, right? And
Mhm.
and you just you want to soak it in. You know, how do you like to process that, knowing that okay, this has happened. So now this is a chapter of boyfriend girlfriend concluding, and now we're moving into a phase where as fiance, and preparing ourselves for that next part of the chapter. See, because I like to think of it as like that's where the long term aspects start to form itself,
Mm.
right? Where it's
Absolutely.
like okay, we've identified that we are choosing each other and what's next for us, but how do we maintain the consistency of what we feel and get to a deeper level of like being able to communicate that, express it with each other? Because now we're going to a place where we're choosing to decide that this you're going to be my person
Mhm.
forever,
True.
getting towards the next phase,
Right.
which is marriage. So let's discuss that, guys. Let's look into what that looks like, into the steps that you've taken throughout that process to prepare
Mhm.
for the committed part of a long-term relationship. Once you've made that step of proposal and saying, hey, I choose you, I'm going to commit this to you, that I see a future with you,
Mhm.
and I hope that you see a future with me with this yes. And now let's start taking the stepping stones to get to that place. What does that look like?
Mm. Well, I think, it started when we started dating. I think it starts from that stage.
Hmm.
It starts with effective communication.
Hmm.
And if you are new to the Acromas podcast, I suggest that you go in, you find effective communication episode, you subscribe, you hit that like button, and you also hit that notification bell so that the next time you see a new video come up about the Acromas podcast, you'll be one of the first to see it. But, it was like, I think effective communication for us is the thing that really, really helped us out,
Hmm.
honestly. Because a lot of the times when we are new in relationships, we want to always show our best side. And sometimes when we do that, we're forgetting that our flaws and all are taken into these sort of long term relationships, marriage, all that stuff. If you're going to be with somebody for 20, 30, 40 years, you're going to need to understand those flaws and how you will
Hmm.
deal with them in your relationship together. I know sometimes when people get to that stage and they see certain deal breakers or certain things that you thought or you deemed in your mind essential, that these are the must-haves for our marriage,
Hmm.
and then you get to that stage of talking while you're married and you're like, whoa, I didn't know had those thoughts. I didn't know you thought like that. I didn't know you acted this way. I think a lot of that could be avoided through not just effective communication, but just honesty.
Mm.
You know, a lot of our conversations, whether we were at a distance or now here together, you know, it really revolved around, you know, what is it that we want to be?
Mhm.
What will be our legacy together? Where are we going? What are the plans of, you know, of children? What are the plans of living, you know, in whatever location we plan on doing? So what are our long-term plans for work? All of those things then turn into goals, if you will, rather than just, you know, conversation, getting to know each other.
Mm.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think effective communication, you start that early in a relationship that you believe is going to head the long-term route.
Mm.
Um
May I just interject for a second and
sure.
ask you, with that being said,
Mhm.
um, would you say, I guess once you've gotten to that place of like that part of the commitment, like fiance and knowing the step that you're taking,
Mhm.
is where you begun to invest in understanding a deeper complexity of like how does this person comprehend with what,
Mhm.
you know, through the process of effective communication, right?
Mhm.
Because I think that I would say, you know, from my experiences of
Mhm.
like shortcomings in certain areas where I didn't understand that before, you
Mhm.
know, that part of like, you know, really taking the time to understand, process my emotions, how I felt, and then to understand this person is going to feel different than how I feel, regardless if we're able to communicate to a degree. But I feel like to hit that next step of when it gets difficult and times are hard,
Mhm.
right? Where you're in that season and things aren't as great as it could be and you're
Right.
having difficulty with one another,
Right.
um that's where the comprehension aspect of like trying to, okay, let me take a moment, process what's being said to me, make
Mhm.
sure I'm learning the style and the language of how to communicate with that person,
Mhm.
and making sure that, you know, we're understood, you know, even if it's a agree to disagree in certain cases, that
Mhm.
we understood each other.
Right.
So I just wanted to add that on too in the process of this, because I know Bree, you're gonna express how you feel about
Yeah.
it. So I just wanted to add
Absolutely.
that part
Yeah.
and
Definitely.
get a, you know, woman's perspective of, you know, what that looks like.
Mhm.
Because
Mm.
you know, I want to understand, guys,
Yeah,
and I hope you
I
guys
do
do
too. I
too.
know
So
we're there already, but I do want to get your sort of unfiltered opinion
yes,
on that. I think
please.
it will be important for our audience to hear
When well, for a female,
you.
with Jamal and I, it was like he knew what he was gonna do, or where we were going. But for me, I needed to hear him express, or for us to plan. If I wasn't, like, if we weren't talking about this thing, if we didn't have a plan,
Yeah.
I didn't first see the seriousness in it. I mean, I knew he asked me to marry him, but until we actually had a plan, I don't think it registered to me concrete. I mean, I knew this was my person. I knew we were going to get married, but as he said, communication, and in that comes having a plan, and
Mhm.
that is very important.
Mhm.
Women need to know that this is what I'm planning on doing. Like, if you're in a relationship and you're like, okay, babe, I'm going to marry you, but she will not understand that until you say, I'm on one knee, be my wife. And then after that, okay, this is what is going to happen. This is our steps towards that.
Mhm.
Until that happens, I don't think a woman would really, believe that this is long term and this is concrete.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So
So
Hmm.
is it more of a based on like affirmative action through that process
yeah,
to prove
yeah,
what you
an
say in that?
action, a
Mhm.
plan,
Mm,
yeah, because
Mhm.
you're gonna say, I'm gonna marry you, relax, and she's like, I'm not seeing anything being
Mhm.
done. And I think that that is very
mm,
important. So it's okay to, say, oh, we're in a long distance relationship.
mm.
Sorry, I'm accustomed to saying long distance. It's okay to say we're in a long term
Yeah,
relationship,
yeah.
Mhm.
but if it is better for you to communicate that, and that would be through a plan,
Mm.
like, this is what we're gonna do, this is
Mm.
our goal, this is where I want us to be, like
Mhm.
Jamal said, a legacy, this is what I
Yeah.
want.
Mm,
Until that happens, and you also have to ensure that that person is ready and understands what it is that, like,
Mhm.
you have to be on the same page. Like, I want us to have,
Absolutely.
kids, I want us to have a long term, but if both of you aren't on that same page, if both of you are not planning, you're not communicating that,
Mm.
it's all gonna be, I don't want to say in vain, but it's not gonna be as effective.
Mm.
interesting. So I okay. So I guess it sounds and just let me know if you agree with this, where
Mhm.
it's more of like just reassurance in you are choosing each other with a purpose
Yeah.
Mm. Yep.
along the
Every day.
way. Is that what that
Yep.
looks
Mm-hmm.
like?
No, this is exactly what it looks like. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep.
So I would imagine to sustain that it does require you to be in such a like level of truth in that process where you have to be open enough, right, with one another. But how do you deal with what you may be experiencing individually, what's going on up here in your
Mm-hmm.
mind, because everyone process things differently, and sometimes it is a little difficult to open up and let a wall down, even if you
Mm-hmm.
are close with someone, because you're battling yourself,
Mm-hmm.
Right. Right.
right?
Right.
And so when you get to those moments, like in a healthy relationship, what do? What does that look like to the both of you, where you assess those moments in your truth of like what you're dealing with, compartmentalizing it, and
Mhm.
being able to express that as best you can to your partner?
I think it comes down to trust. Trusting your partner with your feelings,
Okay.
trusting your partner with your emotions and with your insecurities.
Mm,
Some of the things that that are vulnerable for you. Like Brianna knows some very deep and dark secrets that I have not told anybody else. And the reason I told her and felt comfortable telling her is because I trusted her. I know she's my partner. I know that we're building into a place where we must rely on each other every day,
Mm-hmm.
okay.
for each other's, sanity, for each other's
Mm-hmm.
health. So I had to say those things. I had to allow myself to be a little bit more open emotionally,
Mm-hmm.
to
Mm,
be able to share that with her. And a lot of men with that are our skin
that's
color, that
yeah.
black, we tend to hold those inside. We tend to
Yeah.
not be as expressive with our emotions or with our feelings, and I think it cripples us, honestly.
I agree.
I think that the more open we are with the people that we trust, the easier the communication becomes, because you know that you can truly trust this person that you're going to be growing with.
I agree.
Mm-hmm.
Mm,
And that's a very important point, because I think a man that is able to, I mean, not be a baby, but that is able to open emotionally with his woman, you not only build your relationship, but most women find that very attractive,
Mm,
and
mm,
it pulls you towards your partner. And not only the attraction and the building of a relationship, but in times where you know something might happen, you understand that it
that is true.
creates a way
That
of
is true.
understanding
Yeah.
your partner. Well, okay,
Yeah.
maybe this is what is happening to him.
Mm-hmm.
But if like something is wrong and you're just like you keeping it inside, it's like, what is going on with this?
Mm-hmm.
And you miscommunicate or you misunderstand something,
Yeah.
and that goes haywire.
Yeah.
And I am a perfect example of that with Jamal. There are a lot of things that I've been through, and we would not have been as strong as we are today if I did not express those things or let him into those things. And that involves marriage,
Mhm.
relationships, everything. So you need to open up.
And I think a lot of that too. I think one thing to jump in on there would be patience.
Mm,
We're all unique in our
yeah.
ways. We're all unique in our emotional states, and
Very true. Yeah.
different people have different ways of expressing themselves at different times. So I think if you are growing long term with somebody, it's important that you recognize that and respect that, because it might be unique to them. It's not necessarily that they're trying to hide things from you, or they're
Hmm.
not, they're being standoffish, or there's something else going on with them. It's just they're trying to understand their own emotions
mm-hmm,
and then be
Hmm.
able to communicate that effectively to you
mm-hmm,
so you understand it. And it
Yeah.
it took me, honestly, it took me some time to really learn that.
mm,
It did, but I
Hmm.
knew I had to do that in order for us to continue to go through this long-term relationship that we're in.
I see. See, to reach that breakthrough. So it's just
mm,
Yeah,
like barriers that you run into in
absolutely.
relationships, where you have to put in the work to recognize it. But it goes back to being willing to choose each other,
yep,
Hmm. Yep.
even when
that
you're
is
not
it.
your best
Hmm.
self,
Mm-hmm,
Absolutely.
right?
mm-hmm,
Absolutely.
So I would want to delve a little deeper into that, like where we see the healthy side of it. But what are some, signs that may be red flags for those out there who are maybe in a relationship that it's not so great, where um, what are things would you say for what you guys have worked with each other, from experiences that like
Hmm.
are would be red flags that you're not in the best shape of your relationship, and you may need to sit down and discuss it with each other of where you are, and like how you can possibly work with one another to be better if you choose to. So like, what does that look like? So for example, like what you mentioned about like with men and how we are, especially, African or African American. It's a little harder, and I don't really want to single us out, but it's true where we are raised a certain kind of way where we hold that in, and it does definitely, it's a little harder for us to open up to someone. And then when we get to a place where we decide to do so, how to, to know when it's safe to do so, to know when we're dealing with a partner who's genuine about, that part of being there with us, to understand us, console us through it as much as they can, but to understand us and to choose that process and to be through it with us. What does that look like? How like, what if you encounter like someone that you're not sure as a man, like how do we know what women, and that's I say it because I want to understand that part, like how do you know when you got into a place where it's really safe to do so inside, like how do you know? What does that look like to you guys? To those out there who may be wondering, like they're listening to what you're saying, and they're like, you know what, yo, this is a good example of two individuals who decided to come together and that face the adversity of what it would look like in today's society with distance, and they put the work in, they put the time in, and they're still doing it now, and they're in their truth through this conversation to express like, hey, even when I wasn't my best self, this person chose me, and more importantly, I was loving myself through the process to be aware of what I needed to work on so that I can be what I need to be for me and this person. Like, what advice would you guys say could be helpful to someone out there, a couple who are like at that point now where they're not sure, they want to do that, they want to, or get to the place where, okay, maybe I want to kind of commit in a relationship, see where that goes, or they're working through their past traumas to identify when you have come across someone where you feel safe to kind of let that guard down a little bit.
I mean, honestly, from my perspective, and I don't, this is probably unique to other people as well out there, but it starts with friendship. Like I want to say, like, your friendship is your foundation. This is my best friend right here. So even if we didn't have love, even if we didn't have the marriage, we would still have that respect and that love for each other. So I think if you start there rather than starting at a point where there's just like an infatuation or just a sexual attraction to someone, and you jump right into that, it kind of complicates things because you don't really know who that person is. Like it took us a couple years to get to that point of being close to each other, embracing each other, and truly feeling what it felt like to be in each other's presence. Now it's a unique situation because we were in a long distance relationship.
I see.
But looking back on it, I think it helped us to build a bond prior to even touching each other. And I think with that bond, it helped us grow stronger to where we are now. Because each and every time we saw each other, it's like, man, love you, let's go, man, we're in it, we love each other deeply. But it went beyond that because it's like, yo, this is my silly buddy, this is this is my best friend, this is my go-to, this is my right hand. So I think that's, if you're looking for long term, think best friend, think your close compadre, think somebody that you can literally see yourself growing old with. Think about somebody you could see being able to tolerate, right? Because I think that is a huge, I know it's sometimes it goes unnoticed because you're like, okay, if you're in love, then butterflies and everything feels great and it's all up from here. But all relationships have their ups and downs. But you have to understand what you'll be able to tolerate in a relationship and what you wouldn't. And I think that starts with the open communication. It starts with knowing that this is your, the person that you're with is going to be your best friend. It's going to be the closest person to you for the remainder of your life. So I think once you have that in mind, everything else kind of just falls into place because you don't really have to worry about trying to live up to this type of expectation for your marriage. You just know that you have each other's best interests at heart because it started off as a best friend. So you grow into what that marriage is and you grow old. And once we all grow old and gray, I'm going to get there years before you. But once we get to that stage, it's like that love is still strong. That bond is still strong. That friendship is still very strong. And that for me is what I believe would allow people to really build that trust in whoever they're going to grow old with. Because you're right, sometimes it is risky because there are times where you feel all the things that I'm talking about. You feel like
Yes.
it's your best friend. You feel like this is who I want to grow old with. And, you
Mhm.
know, situations sometimes change. I can't really say that people change because, we are who we are. We are where we want to be. But I think situations change. And once that happens, it does whatever it does to a person.
Mhm.
But for me, the thing that has worked out for us, I'd let you speak as well to it too. But it was the friendship that we built prior to being where we are today.
Mm.
Yeah.
That's that. It's really
Yep.
good to hear.
I think I
Mm-hmm.
nailed it, babe.
Yeah,
Okay.
How about
yeah.
you, Bree? What do you
What do you
have
think?
to?
Yeah.
In addition to what Jamal said, it's really important, especially to females, just be yourself.
Yes.
Be yourself
Absolutely.
Mm.
because
Hmm.
this, if you're thinking long term, this man is gonna have to live with you for the rest of his life. So
Yep.
give him the heads up of what to expect. Don't be all, I have to be perfect. Let me not do this.
Yeah.
Because if you're
Hmm.
thinking long term, it's gonna pop out at some time, and then he now is left with the confusion of what this is not what I expected. So just be
Hmm.
yourself when you're entering into a long distance relationship. Remember, it is it or it will be for the rest of your life. So number one, be yourself so that this person can know, well, this is the person I'm choosing every day. Don't change.
Mhm.
Hmm.
And also be patient with the person that you're going into the relationship with. In friendships, you have to take your time, right?
Hmm.
You can't expect this person to, oh, just come and open up to me,
That's a good
you
point.
know,
That's a very good
Mm.
right?
point.
It,
Yeah.
you
That's
have to
true.
be
That's a very
patient.
good point.
Don't
Yeah.
force it out. Like, tell me
Hmm.
what's wrong. Why are you like this?
Yeah.
Just be
Yeah.
the person's
Mm.
friend, and it will come out
Hmm.
eventually. I mean, guys, don't be afraid to let it out, but females, don't force it out of them. That's
Hmm.
not how it works. It takes time because you don't know what that person went through. Just have
Mm.
to be understanding. Know that for you also things take time. If you're
Hmm.
going through something, it takes a process. You just have to be patient and be yourself.
Hmm.
Mm. Wow, that's well said, guys.
Yeah.
I think you put it into perspective of what it looks like once you get to that phase, and then and we know what the next step of the journey is taking this step to the altar with
Mm.
one another. And I'll say
Hmm.
something, look, guys, from experience of bear witnessing to what it looks like to see. Let me put it this way: I've been to different weddings. I've been to several, as probably most people have been. And this one in particular, unbiasedly, I would say is the one that I've been to where I had the privilege of being there to look in both parties' eyes and to see that I choose you. I would not be anywhere else in the world but right here. And I choose you for every single second I have remaining here. And it is indescribable to see what that looks like, to see someone who found their person. I've been here through the entire process, and it's not to say that it's been questionable on both ends, because there are things you go through in relationship, ups and down. We've all experienced what those things are
Yep,
like,
we
Absolutely.
right?
have, we have,
Yes,
we
we've had
have.
our
Right.
lowest days. Oh my
See,
goodness.
and that's the thing. The beautiful part of knowing is like it's gonna fluctuate through emotions, but in your purpose is gonna sustain you through that. And what I saw the day their day in both of their eyes was absolution. It was that choice that I choose you, you choose me. I don't have nowhere of going. And even in my like moments I'm not my best self, I know that I am enough for me and for you.
Yep.
And
Hmm.
it was a beautiful thing to bear witness to. So of course we could not have not had a special episode
Yeah.
where we can discuss of long-term relationships and get
Hmm.
it from a couple that has battled through the adversity of what that is like, um, understand where they are, and that
Mhm.
knowing that they're in the next step of what the next part of the chapter is going to require of them, right? And in doing so is recognizing that as being a part of a support system, to be there and to keep them uplifted. And personally have been in that realm before, and to understand what you go through. It's big. It's really important to have that there in the form of sincerity, and but to watch and know that it's very possible if you do the work, if you are doing the work and you're putting that time in, you're probably learning how to love yourself first, right? Because you can't learn to love anyone else if you don't love yourself enough, right? To say I do.
Amen to that.
You know,
Mhm.
because I could say, know what it looks like to look into the eyes and of another. And what I saw when I looked into Bree's eyes, because I was hanging from her and I was trying to like not show those emotions to get her riled up. But what I saw was beautiful because it was like,
Mhm.
you know, I know she knows. I know she's
Yeah.
ready. I know he's ready.
Mhm.
And what they're describing to you are things that you are going to feel, that we've all felt, but it's attainable to get to where they are and where they headed. If you're willing to work on you individually, understand like what your worth is for you, identify what's for you. So you, when you do encounter someone and you're putting that time in, you have an understanding of what that looks like for you.
Mhm.
So you can sustain joy. Because for those who are able to see the podcast right now, you feel it, you see joy. And I hope that it's resonating to those who are on like Spotify or hearing this, you know, on the radio. Like this is something that is genuine, is pure, because they are choosing each other. And I for one, thank you guys for allowing me to bear witness to what that's like, and you know, continuing to share parts of this as we go along. And you know, if there's more to say, absolutely we'll continue this conversation, because I think this is important for everyone that tunes into this, for no matter where you are in your relationship, even if you got like 30 something years in, or you know, this is your first day, like, you know, or your first week into the new relationship, or you just got, you know, engaged. Like, I think all of these things are points where if you listening now, you stop, take notes, and you know, you ask those questions that need to be asked, and really realize if you are ready for what's to come. Because I think that's what it came down to for you guys, just being ready for whatever was going to
Gotta be ready
come.
for it. Yeah.
having
And that's just
having
my opinion.
yeah
So
yeah
I
No,
just
just
no, that's absolutely
having the
facts.
goal, and then
Mhm.
ensuring that you're ready for that goal, you're ready to do it together. So that's very important. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, meeting those goals and those mini milestones are also very important too.
Yeah.
I think, you know, that definitely goes unnoticed sometimes as you're looking so far in the future, but getting to that point, that journey is probably more important than the destination. You learn so much along the way about yourself, about your partner, and about where you both are going. So, you know, I truly think, I mean, we'll see. You know, we've
Yeah.
been business partners for about 4 years now. We've been brothers for about 12.
Yeah.
Man, this I thank you so much for being there. You know, you had to be there. It was mandatory. You were forced. We threw you in a van to come
Yeah,
down
he
there.
didn't have a
I
choice.
didn't have a choice,
He didn't have
guys.
a
You didn't have a
choice. It
I
was
didn't
choice.
have
not
a choice,
optional.
guys.
You were going to be there, but no, I mean, there couldn't be a better person to handle that role, and to who's been there intimately through our journey over the past 6 years, and seen us blossom from, you
Yeah.
know, a seed underground to the bloom that we have today. So wow, I mean, look, this was amazing. Again, you know, we're definitely going to have some follow-up conversations to this. This can go so many other ways. This is not the last time you're seeing my wife, obviously.
No.
And I mean, it's, you know, it's a blessing that you're here, babe. You're hearing it from the mouth of me. I appreciate you. I love you. I respect you. I honor you. And for the rest of my days, I am blessed to call you mine.
I am too.
Okay. Love
I love you
Oh
you.
man. And if you guys didn't feel what you didn't feel that, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you about your emotions, but like, continue to work on them, because that was very heartfelt. And yeah, guys, I admire where you are. It's an inspiration to see you choose each other, and to be ready for whatever comes next in this journey. As I said, I will do my part to be there, to be a support system, to keep you guys uplifted, because you know, when everyone says I do, there are a lot of people that are around that, you know, they get the talk of the where you be there, be present, but they don't,
That's
from
very true.
experience, they're not always there. So
too.
it's like, it's important to recognize what that looks like, and to be what you need to a community, like to be to part of that village, and that's where you are. And like I said, I mean, you give me hope. You guys give me hope, and I'll be real, in a place where I didn't think that'd be possible. But when I saw what I saw their day, something inside me, I said, you know what, Will, that's what it's supposed to look like. So you guys gave me hope.
We're happy to do that.
So
we are. You
Yeah.
know, we love being ourselves. Honestly, you know, we're both on this podcast. I'm always loud. I'm always, you know, I'm always boisterous, and that's just part of my personality.
Yeah.
And my one
I
true
know it.
love here. I
know
know. She's the same. Don't let this.
It's my first time. It's my first time.
Let this
You
quiet
know.
demeanor fool you.
Yeah, it's my
She is
first
just
time.
as silly as I am, and she's always vivacious. She's always honest. She's always
Yes.
keeping me on my toes. And we're always a team together. We do everything as a team, and it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, find your best friend, fall in love with your best friend. Make sure that that friendship foundation is built before you get to that next level, because that would be the thing that you stand on for the rest of your life.
Yep.
The house could blow over at any time, but you have that close best friend around you. You can make it through anything.
And remember that in long term, your goals,
Mm-hmm.
that you have to always be willing to choose
Mm.
your
Mm.
partner to achieve those goals. You have to always be
Mhm.
willing to communicate
Mm-hmm.
through long term, because it's a teamwork.
Yep.
It's a teamwork.
Every
Long
single
term is
day.
it just don't happen. You have to
Mhm.
put in that
Got to put in the
that
work.
work, that communication, that
Yeah.
choosing. It all ties up in one. But
Mhm.
trust me, if you do it with the right person, if you do it with the person that you choose,
Yeah.
it's gonna be wonderful.
Yep.
That's
Absolutely.
beautiful to hear, guys. Because look,
Absolutely.
like I said, I'm taking notes. So if the time comes for me, I am gonna be. You guys know I come to you anyway. So, so
We're here.
that person's gonna have to be
Always
filtered.
here. Yeah,
So
we're
just
here.
know whoever you are out there, you're
We're
gonna be
always
filtered.
here.
So
We're always rooting for you, bro.
it's beautiful.
Yeah.
So you know, guys, I think this is a subject that we will revisit again with time, and the experience of these two lovely, beautiful souls here. But I'd say this much, Jay. I'll take this part this week and just kind of, we want to open the floors up to those who
Absolutely.
have seen this, and we want us to tell us about, your preparation, your story,
Mhm.
what you've done to make sure that you're ready for
Yeah.
that part of your life
Mhm.
with your partner as well. So
Very
we would love to hear the perspective of couples,
Yeah.
Yep.
people who have made the decision to be couples. No disrespect
Mhm.
to those out there who aren't, but like myself. But if you're there and you've taken some good notes and you have some that you feel that you can share, that other perspectives that we didn't get a chance to touch on in this episode, please definitely drop them in our DMs. Make sure you put it in the comments
Yep.
on YouTube. Make sure to
Yeah.
subscribe if you haven't, because it's free. Tell them, Bree, what is it? Let's go.
It's free.
There we go. So compromising is what's happening right now, guys. Yeah, so it's free. It's free. It's for everyone on Spotify. We're just making sure we convince Jay of that, and we want to make sure that you guys don't miss this as well. So please subscribe, share this content, share what you get to see first, because we want to make sure we're reaching more people, and especially in this particular sort of scenario, we want to make sure that you grow.
Yep.
You grow with
Mhm.
us. I'm growing right now.
Growth is important.
Very
Mhm.
important.
Yeah, right.
Very important.
It's everything. It's everything.
It's literally everything. Look, I mean, we all go through our growing periods, right? We all go
Yes.
through our growing pains. We all have to one day take a look in the mirror and try to really figure out who we are.
Yep.
So I think that's very important to have an identity and know exactly where you are to be in this world.
Mhm.
And look,
Mhm.
a lot of us have passions, right? A lot of
Mhm.
us are passionate about whether it's cooking or
Mhm.
being an artist, when it's in music or painting, whatever it is. We all have a passion. We all have something that we truly love. But I got to tell you what, I really got to break some news to you,
Okay.
and I know this might break a lot of hearts, especially in the self-help or professional development
Mm.
industry. Passion does not always equal profit.
Mm.
Ooh, that's big. That's
Oh,
very
boy.
true.
Baby, you just dropped the bomb.
Passion
Mm.
does not always equal profit. We may love what we do.
Yes.
But.
We may be pretty great at what we do,
Mm-hmm.
but we may not understand how to get paid at what we do.
Mm.
So next Sunday, we're going to drop some truth on you. We want you to tune in, because this one is going to ruffle some feathers. I know we've done it in the past and we're going to do it again.
I mean, yes, we
But
have.
The thing about Acromas is that we're always honest, we're always upfront, we're always raw, we're always speaking from experience. And it is something that you need to hear because there are other people in this industry that won't tell you it.
No,
They
won't.
will not tell you.
Mm.
But passion does not always equal profit.
Sounds like an exciting episode.
That's gonna be amazing.
Oh, buddy. What do you think, Bree?
I think it's gonna be the bomb.
Thebomb.com.
The bomb.
Don't say that in the airport, guys.
The bomb.
Don't
Whisper
say
it.
that.
The bomb.
No. TSA will hear you be out. Never fly again. Don't
Don't end up on
Don't
that
do
on that
that.
list.
I'm not responsible for that.
don't do that. Don't do
Public
that.
service
She's not
announcement.
responsible for it.
It's gonna be lit.
It is gonna
Litified.
litified. Hashtag
Litified.
Litified.
Yeah.
Boom.
Boom. So for those who are new, look, if you've been here, this message, this sort of angst in my voice is going to be for you because there's no reason why you have been here and you still can't get the name right. There's no reason why you have been here and you still cannot find about us. There's so many things that are left to be said here, but there's just one thing I want to leave you with. If you've been here before, it's the Acromas name. It's Acromas.
Yeah.
ACHROMOUS. You can find us on YouTube. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you can see all the new episodes that come in. You can find us on Facebook. You can find us on Instagram. You can find us on Spotify. We are literally everywhere you can hear a podcast. So there is no excuse, none, why you have not heard about the Acromas podcast.
Agreed.
Man.
Agreed.
Mm.
Very, very much so.
Yes. And if you're new here, welcome.
Hey guys.
How you doing? It's good to see you. You're beautiful.
You're beautiful.
You're
Yes,
absolutely
you are.
beautiful. Yes.
And you seek growth and change.
Yeah.
Yes. Growth and change to these healthy habits that we continue to build every week.
Mhm.
Wow. What a day. What a day. Amazing, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's a beautiful,
Wow.
special
This is
one.
beautiful. Yes. This special episode with this special person sitting next to me. Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, until next time, until next Sunday, it is your boy, J.H. Gibbons.
And Brianna Gibbons.
We'll see. Did you hear that? Oh, that sounds like a good ring, guys.
Yes,
That's
it
a good
does,
ring.
doesn't it? A really good ring, too.
Hey.
Oh, man, we are cheesy. Anyway, next Sunday, we are going to be here. J.H. Gibbons.
We'll see.
Who are you?
Brianna Gibbons.
Say
Peace.
peace.